everyone, I'm Richie and welcome to Helix Cloud Games. This is SideQuest, the show where we take a step off the critical path and explore more of what the video game world has to offer. On this week's show, I'm joined by the host of Sounds of Stadia podcast, Mr. Chris.
Hello, players.
And today we're going to be talking about, will there be a Stadia showcase in 2021? First, a quick bit of housekeeping. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for notifications for when all of our great stuff goes live, such as the Sounds of Stadia podcast, which goes live every single Monday on YouTube and podcast services, our Thursday night live streams, where we've been playing Life is Strange True Colours. And if you want this show a whole 6 days early, you can join up by being a member for as little as 99p. It supports the channel and gets our massive appreciation. But before we get into it as well, we are planning our 2nd year anniversary stream. We are doing it for Dementia and Alzheimer's, the Alzheimer's Society. So if you have any money to donate to that, head to justgiving.com/HelixCloudGames. Any support you give is much appreciated, and a massive thank you for everyone who's supported us so far. And if you have a topic idea, we do have a Discord. The link is in the description below. So, Chris, 2021, we're currently in September, and so far we've had no events from Stadia in the slightest.
Not a sausage, Richie. And that's why we're here at this topic today. As of the time of recording, 19th of September 2021. And I think we've mentioned it on the podcast, the Sounds of Stadia podcast, if you've not heard it, folks, every Monday. Drops here on youtube.com/HelixCloudGames. We've had lots of events since Stadia launch back in 2019. In fact, we've had lots of events beginning in GDC, the Game Developers Conference, early in 2019. And they've given us substantial content every few months since then, except for, it seems, to have dried up in 2021. And myself, and I'm sure a lot of the Stadia community out there, are just kind of getting a bit, I don't want to say uneasy, just a bit. Well, I'm trying to think what the word is. I can't think what the word to describe it.
I know.
Without sounding too negative, but we've not had. So I think to give context for people for dates. So GDC announcement was 19th of March 2019.
Yeah.
Terrific. It was announced. This is Stadia. Here we go. They had a Stadia Connect launch event on the 6th of June, so before Stadia launch, just kind of to talk a bit more in depth about what Stadia is, what the games will be coming, testing it out, all that kind of stuff. And then we had a Connect again on August, the 19th of August 2019. So just before launch, we had another update. Phil Harrison comes out, this is what we're going to do, this is what we've been working on. We can't wait for you to see all the amazing things Google and Stadia are bringing to the cloud. Then we had the launch, we all got our founders packs, everyone played over Christmas. Everyone was happy days. We then got another Connect on the 28th of April 2020. So that was our first Connect of 2020. They spoke about games. Happy days. We got another one in July. 14th of July specifically 2020. So there's a consistency of almost like every half of the year. Every four so months.
There's some that's like 3 months apart. There's some that's 6 months apart.
Yeah, so about a third of the year. And then we rounded out 2020 with a good stuff event. If you recall, we got 3 days back to back of little short videos that showed us things like Immortals Phoenix Rising, Humankind. We got some demos.
And together, the 3 days basically amounted to a Connect.
A Connect, yeah, essentially. So we got the October good stuff event was basically the follow-up to the July Connect. Then we got, just before Christmas, we got the Stadia Live Hangout session, which was with some few streams. We had Austin Creed, Laura Z-Side, and a bunch of other people played games with us. The community, they showcased Crowd Choice, if I'm not mistaken, Richie, with Dead by Daylight and a couple of other things.
Yeah, I think it's Crowd Choice. Correct us in the comments if we're wrong.
Yeah, and the reason it kind of comes to fruition now is we start to head into October. Halloween's on the horizon. The clocks are about to go back. And I'm about to start contemplating my Christmas shopping. And it really just came to my mind that we've not heard anything from the Stadia team except for February's closure of Stadia Games Entertainment was the last thing they put out that wasn't a community blog. No videos, no announcements, nothing at E3. Other than the Ubisoft segment, we've heard nothing for nearly an entire year.
The only things we get are the weekly community blog, the Stadia Save Point, which is basically a roundup of a month.
Yeah, it's a longer blog.
And trailers on YouTube. of games that are announced.
And it just, as a player, and I love the platform. I know it works. I've been, again, we're all founders here at Hades Cloud Games. But as someone who thrives off enjoying the PlayStation Showcase, the excitement around E3, what games are coming, I think the thing that pushed us to do this topic for SideQuest this week was we covered the THQ Nordic event on Friday, which showed us a Destroy All Humans game, a motocross game, and a SpongeBob game from arguably a double-A developer. And we've got the titles on Stadia. We've got a SpongeBob game. It was a pro game, remember? We've had the motocross Monster Jam racing games. We've had SpongeBob and Destroy All Humans already on the platform. And yet, again, there was yet no peep. So we're heading into the winter period, and we've heard nothing for nearly an entire year to tell us about stuff.
I wouldn't mind Stadia. We're not going to have our own Connect or anything like that. We're just going to leave it for the developers to kind of put it out there. If that actually happened, but we went through GDC, went through E3, we've had the Game Awards last year, Summer Games Fest,
Indie Showcase,
Ubisoft Connects, all sorts of these events.
We should mention Ubisoft did speak about Stadia. They are the only people to actively promote with the logo and mention games that are coming to the platform. That's it.
And that's the thing. We know there's more games coming to the platform. They've got a roadmap all the way to 2023. They've told us that.
We get FIFA in a week or so.
Yeah.
Massive AAA game.
But was the Stadia, I can't remember, was the Stadia logo there at any EA events? Yeah,
I don't think EA Play put the logos on anything. Like, I know Dead Space and stuff didn't have any logos at all, but it's covered there after journalists after the fact that it's coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, etc. So,
but again, I feel like Stadia need to connect more than like Sony needs something or Nintendo needs something or Xbox needs something, because the expectation, especially for Sony and Xbox, that any AAA game is going to come, unless it's stated otherwise, will come to the platform. That's not the case with Stadia. So we're going into like the winter, and early next year is looking like pretty crowded already, and none of these games we know they're coming to the platform.
Yeah, like that's like the reality is you're totally right in saying that these events just kind of seem to have dried up. But they've never came out and said we're no longer going to be doing Connect. The Stadia Connect doesn't work for our new model.
Yeah.
We've closed our internal studios. Again, terrible news for all parties involved. It's given them a lot of stick over it. But moving on from that, pushing forward, what is the plan then? What games are coming? We're not getting Guardians of the Galaxy as far as we're aware. We're not getting Battlefield 2042. So it is that kind of back to that age-old question that, are you ready to, at some point in the year 2021, will Stadia, the Google Stadia team, come out outside of a blog and actually tell their audience what you should expect? It's all well and good saying there's plans for 2023 and beyond. You need to show your consumers something more than stealth drops every other Tuesday. One
of the problems is blogs suck. They just do. Blogs are fine for people like me and you who invest in the platform, and we have a weekly news podcast on Stadia. The blog is useful. We're going to go read it because it's useful information. However, general consumer who's half interested in the platform is probably not going to read a Stadia blog.
Richie, I'm a big PlayStation fan, and I don't read any PlayStation blogs. No, I watch podcasts and shows that summarise it for me.
Yeah, and the biggest problem with Stadia, I still think, is the player base. But if you get more people in, suddenly there's more money coming in. Other services can be upgraded, and the whole thing starts flourishing. But they just don't. It comes down to marketing as well. They just don't market Stadia at all.
Again, we don't want this whole SideQuest episode to turn into like a negative thing. We're genuinely just asking the question: where is your presence in the entirety of 2021? As a very much a startup business at the moment. Cloud gaming is in its infancy, but I've heard so much stuff this summer from Xbox and xCloud.
We've just had a massive Nvidia leak as well.
And that wasn't their choice, I'm sure.
No, but it's information.
marketing.
Yeah.
All new, like any news is good. Well, not necessarily good news, but you know what I mean. Like, any coverage is exposure for your platform. I'm seeing Amazon doing Luna sponsored streams on podcasters that I listen to and watch, and it's not even out of beta outside the US anyway. So I know we've mentioned it many times on the podcast, but yeah, like physical presence on high streets, billboards, TV commercials. There's just nothing, and I'm just really worried that we're going to go an entire year cycle, and it's almost like there's no budget for promoting your product. Yeah. Where is the FIFA advert that pairs with a Stadia logo at the end? I guarantee we see FIFA commercials over the next few weeks within the football world, soccer world, that shows you all these footballers playing the game, and then at the end it'll have the PlayStation logo, it'll have the Xbox logo. There's nothing like that from Stadia, outside of maybe a Google ad every now and again.
Yeah. I've said it before, I still think that they just see this as another arm of their tech empire, where like you're not going to see loads of ads for a new Chromecast. You might see one or two. They'll talk about it at their own event, and then it's out there, it's on the market, and then the market will kind of take care of itself. But gaming isn't a Chromecast. It's a different industry. And
it's the biggest industry as well, so you need to throw some money at it. But in regards to like the tech, all of the Google Home tech that I've got, I see adverts on TV all the time for Nest speakers and hubs and all of that other the cameras, the Nest cams and stuff. So they market on television and stuff elsewhere. I see billboards and stuff for it. Yet, their gaming branch, they just kind of, it's just a blog post, and I just think just something needs to change.
It's hard.
I would hate to get us to December 31st, 2020, and the most we see this year is blog posts and YouTube video drops.
Yeah,
it's hard not a good approach to marketing.
It's hard not to be negative when you're giving us nothing. This is the thing I've been saying for a while. Is like, I want Stadia to give me something that I'm excited for. A game would be the ideal thing to fill that category. Give me a game that I can look forward to playing. And I just don't have one. I can't think of a game right here, right now on Stadia that I am really looking forward to play. I can on Microsoft, I can on Sony, I can on Nintendo. Yeah.
It all goes back, funnily enough, Richie, to one word that we get in trouble for saying all the time, but it's a roadmap.
Yeah.
As a consumer, as someone who's bought into this fledgling industry, everything's up there in the digital cloud. I don't have physical access to it. I don't have any discs. I'm trusting them up there with all of my purchases. And I don't know anything beyond a little caption in an interview from 6-7 months ago that says, we're investing in 2023 and beyond. That's great. Show me what you're investing in. Because as consumers, we are, in quotes, investors in this platform.
And the thing is, I always like to go back to the fact that we're invested in the platform in a way that a lot of most consumers aren't, because of the podcast, and we cover Stadia on our YouTube channel. But if I'm general consumer who's just interested in gaming, I'm not reading that article that says we've got we've got plans up to 2023. It just doesn't. I probably don't even hear about it. I think even people who listen to podcasts and gaming are a small chunk of a huge pie. Never mind those of us who make them. Like, we're even smaller still, so it's like...
Oh, yeah. But it's one of those things where it does come down to, like, again, some kind of just dialogue with your community to say, like, oh, I'm sure they're doing great work behind the scenes. We know the tech works. We know they're probably reaching out to developers all over the place to try and get their games ported across.
Yeah. And we know it's an expensive process as well, so I'm not expecting them to hit. I mean, a year ago, I was probably saying, by this time this year, I expect them to be hitting all AAA titles day and date. The reality now is I'm expecting most major ones, that especially the single-player ones, to be coming to the platform.
I mean, after 2 years, you would expect most third-party to make it over. But if we just go through some of the titles that are coming across all games, so stuff that's got people hyped to play games between middle of September, as we stand now, in the end of the year, going into the Christmas break and Thanksgiving and stuff for people in the States. Deathloops just came out on PlayStation. Ironically enough, made by Microsoft Studio, it's an exclusive. It's getting 10 out of 10s all over the place. That's out now. That's what people are playing. Kena Bridge of Spirits comes out next week. Exclusive to PlayStation. Looks like a Pixar movie / meets Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Great. That's on PlayStation. Diablo 2 Resurrected. PC and elsewhere. Metroid Dread, Nintendo exclusive. Oh, we've got one. Far Cry 6. Thank you, Ubisoft, for bringing out one of your flagship titles on the platform. Of course, Ubisoft Plus does terrific work.
I feel almost like Ubisoft are the exception to the rule at this case. So I don't really, when these sort of conversations, I always kind of forget about them because it's a safe bet that a Ubisoft game is coming day and date to the platform, but they're the only publisher I can say that about. You are right. Exception to the rule, and at what point does that exception to the rule become mute in the conversation because you can't keep going back to one company? I think it already is, to be perfectly honest. As I said, Ubisoft are the only ones I can say that I can expect their games coming day and date to the platform.
Yeah,
other developers, I can't even guarantee that the games will come.
Yeah, which is something that needs correcting via a roadmap. Or yes, the deal with EA was fantastic. So the great news is we've expanded our relationship with EA to bring you more games in the future. Yeah, games like Battlefield 2042 comes out, obviously just being delayed till November 19th. Stadia's second birthday, we shall point out. Not mentioned, not coming. Call of Duty, no chance. Halo Infinite exclusive to Xbox. And then we've got FIFA 22 is coming to Stadia. So
there's things as well that it's logo gate. The more Stadia are silent on their end, the more logo gate takes precedence.
Thing.
Yeah, because if you're not telling us what's coming, and you're expecting the developers and publishers to do that, then you need to be making sure your logo is where it needs to be. So we've just had the THQ Nordic 10-year anniversary press conference.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of games in there that we discussed in the podcast, so we think there's a very good chance they will come to the platform. There wasn't a single Stadia logo for that entire showcase. And it's like, if they come to the platform, it's like, why isn't your logo there?
And you would imagine, Richie, this is something that I think we would probably forgive 6 months in.
Yeah.
Okay, it's naivety. They've not got the PR email addresses. They don't have a person on the inside at Studio X and Studio Z.
But we must remember when that excusable. You Google, you should be able to get these contacts.
Yeah, but then now we're coming up on the second anniversary, and we have titles like, let's not forget, they have some great AAA titles on there. All the Ubisoft catalog, Cyberpunk, the FIFA, Jedi Fallen Order, terrific titles, terrific games. Control, Game of the Years are on there, Celeste and stuff. But the difference is, we only knew about them when they were announced on a blog post. That was it. Why wasn't Control at a Connect this summer? Why did we not have a Connect that showed off Resident Evil Village coming, Control is coming, interstitialed with all these other titles? We didn't. We just got it on a blog, and it was like, great for that little window, but for the masses who were tuning in and journalists that are covering it, does anybody in your podcast circles you follow, Richie, if you ask them, quiz question, is Control on Google Stadia? Yes or no? How many do you think would have even seen it? Because I listen to the gaming podcasts, and when they read through the games out today, they go out on Nintendo Switch, bang, bang, bang. Out on Xbox, bang, bang, bang. PlayStation, bang, bang. PC, Steam.
It's more of a surprise Stadia, when you hear the word Stadia.
Yeah, it almost like pricks your ears. And that's all comes down to marketing. And 2 years in, their budget for marketing has been a free blog post and free YouTube links. We've arguably tweeted out more from our channel and put out more videos on our channel, our little tiny Helix Cloud channel, than the official ones have.
This is some of the weird stuff I think that they're doing. It's like, it's Google, they own YouTube. Instead of the weekly blog post, which only people investing in the platform read, why don't you hire one guy whose job is to turn that into a short 2 to 5 minute video, short form video that you publish every week on your YouTube channel? You're basically you're taking the blog. It's what you do with the podcast. You put the video on. You mix it up with the talks. Like, I'll do it. Hire me.
Again, we're in the world of video. TikTok, 20, 30 second short form video is how people learn, how people consume entertainment now. You're totally right. Take all the points from the week. Get a green screen. get some clever video editing software, and just put together,
And
this is your Stadia weekly update. This week we've got new games. DLC just dropped for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Go check out Eivor's adventures into Paris as he takes on the Frankish horde, like, and just jazz it up a bit.
we're talking about this, the information they put out already.
Anyway.
Anyway, literally, you're putting that information out anyway, convert it into a format that more people are going to engage with.
Yeah.
Even like the developer interview with the Falconer.
Why wasn't that
that could have been that could have been an in-person video, Falconer, and then you post that as a blog. Here's the transcript.
Yeah. Drop in some footage of the game over the top of it. Slice that in there.
Stick a couple of cameras up. I'm sure you've got them. If not, I'm sure you can afford them.
Just a little bit. A little bit. I mean, but again, all this aside, it comes from a place of like passion. It's like when you want like your kids and your family to do well. You push them to do well by saying like this is where you have room for improvement. We've all probably played sports at school. Your coach might seem like a hard ass. He might be giving you shit all the time, but he's doing it for your best interest. We want them to succeed. We want them to do well. And again, no one is safe from criticism at all. And I just genuinely think an entire year cycle in the video game world should not be allowed to pass without you putting out some kind of content to tell your audience about what the future holds. Silence does not work in this industry. Silence does not work in marketing.
We're on the verge of like the Christmas period now. Getting to that point of the year. What is the reason for a parent to buy a Stadia in quotation marks for their kid?
Yeah, in 2020. It could be FIFA.
It could be. We know FIFA's coming. That's a good get. But admittedly, I haven't looked at all of FIFA's market material, but is there a Stadia logo there?
Probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, this should have been like a show. I reckon some point, we said it at the time, Richie, but realistically, between Summer Games Fest and E3, and probably arguably up to the Game Awards at the end of the year, there should have been a Stadia Connect to say, we've had a terrific last year, thanks to all of our players. They've enjoyed titles like, and just summarise and say, we've launched Control, Cyberpunk was amazing. Because again, Cyberpunk still runs like crap on the PS4. They can still go back to that well and say, like, look at all these games, we've got Humankind now. Like, look at these titles we've got in the line, Jedi Fallen Order. Like, really just show off what you do have, rather than be silent, and then what you don't have echoes louder and louder and louder. The more you don't talk, the more people will talk on your behalf. And generally, the people who talk on your behalf do not have your best interests to hand. You need to control the narrative by speaking from the rooftops about how good your tech is, how good your team is, how good your player base is. We know it is. The Stadia community is phenomenal.
The tech is phenomenal as well. The people that we've engaged with from the Stadia team are fantastic. Every single one of them.
There's just the wider perception needs to change, and the people who need to control that narrative are the people who sign the checks and make the decisions higher up the ladder.
You mean Mr. Phil Harrison?
Well, that's just a perfect segue, Richie, because when was the last time the head of Stadia, Mr. Phil Harrison, publicly spoke? Other than if you take out the community blog in February, Richie.
Yeah.
Let's just check Mr. Phil's Big Phil's Twitter account.
The last thing he did is in April 2020, and he retweeted a Stadia Connect post.
Right.
So it's like almost a year and a half since he's used his Twitter account. He may have another Twitter account that I'm not aware of, but...
You know what's the sad irony of it all as well? Is March 4th, 2020, he gave a warm welcome to Shannon Studstill.
Yeah.
Who joined the Stadia Games Entertainment. And then he thanked Bungie for a partnership.
So he started off in March, April last year. He's quite active.
Yeah, and then he promoted the working from home initiative and stuff, and obviously the effects of the pandemic and everything. He retweeted some pro game promotion, and then like you said, his last tweet was a Stadia Connect, April 2020. And since then, we've had another Connect in the summer, a good stuff event, a hangout, and then silence since December last year. So that's all of Christmas, all of spring, all of summer, all of E3, Games Fest, everything else. absolutely nothing from the head of Stadia.
Yeah. I mean, the head of Stadia doesn't necessarily need to be the face of it.
He doesn't. He certainly doesn't. But look at Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
Look at the goodwill he is garnering for Microsoft by coming out, doing interviews, telling it it's all about the players, it's all about the games, why they're making acquisitions, the future of Game Pass, where he sees Microsoft going, speaking about xCloud and the possibilities that brings. He is doing what all I think leaders should do, and that is show how good your brand's projected roadmap is and what their intentions are, and they want to be somewhere to play, funnily enough, across all devices anywhere, on old tech, new tech. He's the games for what, $1 a month does Game Pass promotion start at?
Yeah.
Crazy. But and again, on the flip side, we have silence and a couple of retweets over a year and a half ago.
It feels like we always come back to the same topic or these same talking points, but that's because they just don't, because of the silence, they don't give us anything. What is the plans for Stadia going forward? And what's your plans for growing your player base? What games are you targeting?
We don't know.
In the end of the day,
we don't know.
I'm a fan of the platform, but I am a consumer. Every game I buy is effectively an investment into that platform.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a reason to keep investing.
That's it.
And the best way to do that is tell us what games are coming up. If you just told us, here's the games you can expect. If you did a Connect tomorrow and went, here's the games that you can expect till the end of the year, great.
If they genuinely just came out and said, FIFA 22 is coming next week, terrific.
Yeah.
Go play with your sports teams. And then they said, oh, and by the way, our partners over at Square Enix, our continued relationship with them, we'll be getting Guardians of the Galaxy next month as well. Awesome stuff. Oh, and by the way, look at all these newer indie smaller titles that we've got in the pipeline through to the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then what the plans are for maybe a big title next summer or something like that.
And I've said before, I hate shadow drops. I've come to hate them. I think they work when it's a surprise. When it's the norm, it's just lack of marketing at that point.
Yeah. Shadow drops are great because it's like, oh, it's out today. I can buy it right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're usually older games. They're not brand new titles. Yeah. And like you rightly said, Richie, people have limited budgets.
Yeah, that's it.
If I'm at the end of the month, I'm quite skint right now. And I've still got another 10, 11 days of the month to go. I ain't buying any AAA titles for £60, £70, on the drop of a hat.
You compete. The thing is, Stadia's not just competing against Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. They're competing against Amazon Prime. They're competing against Disney Plus. They're competing against Netflix for your time and your money. Is where do I want to invest my time and money in terms of my hobbies and interests? That's what you're competing in. And as much as I like the platform and I still continue to support it, and this is where everything I'm saying is it's coming from a place of I want to see this succeed, but they need to actually change. The current strategy just isn't effective.
Yeah, it doesn't work. The needle has not been moved throughout the entire year.
It doesn't work in concept and it doesn't work in practice.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And as much people go stop talking about roadmap. They've said they'll shadow drop things. It doesn't work. And I've
said many times why shadow drops are a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because not everyone has infinite money. So what would you do, Chris, if you're say, I don't know, let's say you're expecting the new Assassin's Creed coming out this year, but it wasn't announced for Stadia, so you bought Far Cry. Let's say you're 3 hours in, then suddenly Assassin's Creed shadow drops, and it's I can't afford both. I would have bought it the other way.
Yeah. Let's just look at to wrap this all up, marketing in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Apple this past week, they had a keynote event. They spoke about their new phone, their new tablet, their new watches, their Apple Arcade updates. Pre-orders go on sale within 24 hours. The product is out in a week. It gets all spotlight on it. All journalists go on it.
Yeah.
PlayStation Showcase. Everyone talking about God of War, Wolverine, Spider-Man. Yeah. Cannot wait. And that's through till 2020. Wolverine won't be out for another 3 or 4 years potentially. Yeah. But people are hyped for it, so they want a PlayStation 5. Well, Xbox do it. Every single business does it that way.
The difference between a hardware drop say like the new iPhone, it's like, oh yeah, it's coming out in like 2 weeks from the date of the announcement. Well, you know that phone's going to be pretty much on the market for the next 2 years.
Yep.
Where with a game, the key time you're going to sell it is probably within a month or two of the game coming out.
Yeah, it's a short window of opportunity.
And with pre-orders as well, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because if a game's coming out, let's say like Cyberpunk, how many people do you think pre-ordered Cyberpunk in other platforms before it was announced when it was coming to Stadia? Mafia?
Quite a few.
If you were interested in Mafia, you could have been playing it almost a year ago.
Mafia is a complete shambles at this point, because the reality is, we saw our friend Lee from Stadia Source. Mafia has been out on PlayStation and Xbox for that long now. It's nearly at a year. At the time of recording, I'll mention it on this show as well, Richie.
Yeah.
The Mafia Definitive Trilogy has been out on other platforms for 359 days. That's nearly 1 whole year since it launched. We've heard nothing from Stadia, nothing from 2K, nothing from Hammer 13. To a point now, Richie, you can buy Mafia 2 for £7 on PlayStation. It's been that long, it's past its marketing window, and it's now in the bargain bin. And we're still waiting for it on the Stadia, even though we were told it was coming the same time as the PlayStation and Xbox fan bases were.
If they told us a year ago that it was going to be in a 2022 game on Stadia, there would have been some grumbling. But it wouldn't become a weekly segment on our podcast.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to be over. But yeah, I think in a nutshell then, Richie, the marketing for this year hasn't worked. The growth clearly from the player base we've seen from multiplayer games hasn't worked. Yeah. And that chicken and the egg scenario is preventing bigger games, like online games, like Battlefield potentially, because EA will look at the numbers, say it's not worth it, we don't have crossplay sorted out yet, we cannot bring this title to your platform because it will die on launch due to the lack of players.
Yeah.
Something needs to change that. And unfortunately, the developers, it's not down to them to get Stadia's player base to grow, it's down to Google.
EA don't care where you play their games. They care that you're playing their games.
And that needs to change heading into 2021. I don't think we'll see anything before Christmas.
No. Here's the thing.
Which is a shame.
This is what, if anyone from the Stadia team's listening to this, come out in December. If you don't have time to pull anything together for this year, fine. Come out in December and go, this is what you can expect from us in 2022. And go hard. This is the plan. These are the games that are coming. Have it like a showcase. It doesn't have to be massive. But just give us something, because I think another year of silence,
it's a bad look.
You're crippling yourself by being silent. That's the thing.
Think of all your friends out there who you haven't spoken to for over a year. Do you still count them as friends? Same goes for this. If you've not had any back and forth, imagine if I didn't speak to you, Richie, all week, and then we had to get together on a weekend to do a podcast. It just wouldn't work. Like, you need communication in your lives, and if you're marketing a product to the masses, you need to market it. So yes, my only thing I ask is do some marketing.
Yeah, just do some
genuine. Get anyone who's just fresh out of university. They've got a marketing degree. They will give you 1,000 ideas of what could be done to make this look better.
Yeah,
and again, just to echo Richie. It's from a place of love. I want them to succeed. I just don't think they're making the right moves right now to do as best as they could have done.
Same. And the thing is, you don't even need to reinvent the wheel with this stuff. Look at what other people have done. Look what's been successful. Look what the fan reaction's been to the stuff. The information is all out there. You're Googled. You're good with information. And most information is on YouTube, which is your platform.
We can't. 2021 cannot be an echo of this year.
I
don't want to be sat here this time next year saying we haven't had another Connect, we haven't had any more AAA games. Is Battlefield and Call of Duty next year coming? Who knows? But Stadia will be nearly 3 years old then. At what point do you start asking bigger questions? So, again, they'll have shareholders to answer to in March and April. So we'll hopefully hear stuff, even whether they want to speak to us or not. The shareholder documents will tell us the inside scoop. But I don't want to wait till the year of the Stadia Games Entertainment closure to hear about what the next steps are.
But Staff have left. You should be getting ahead. If you want to control the narrative, you want to be making your big announcements before the shareholder stuff goes through.
100%.
They shouldn't. If I'm a shareholder at a company, I don't want to be surprised by what's in the meeting, the minutes of my shareholder meeting. I want to have already had a good idea what I'm going into. But with that, that's all we have time for this week. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for more 30-minute rants about Google Stadia. Check
Every
out
week.
Every week. We try not to rant, but it's just like, they need to give us stuff. But anyway,
it's not a rant.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can feel like one sometimes.
Yeah. Check out the Sounds of Stadia podcast, which every single week we break down the Stadia news and our first night live streams. We've been playing Life is Strange True Colours. We're probably getting very close to the end on that one. If you want to support the channel even more, you can for as little as 99p, which gives you early access to this very show. And if you want to support people with Alzheimer's and dementia, head over to justgiving.com/Helix Cloud Games, where every single donation you make is greatly appreciated. It's part of our 2nd year anniversary stream. We'll see you in the Discord, the link's below. And with that, I've been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Thank you very much for watching. Quest completed.